Hello peoples and welcome to another episode of Esoterica Cinema. My name is Ryan Seybold, and today I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about the 2024 psychological thriller Heretic. The film pits two young door-to-door Mormon evangelist women played by Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East against a seemingly harmless and all too willing to listen homeowner played by Hugh Grant, as they embark on a cat-and-mouse game questioning faith and religion and go into a basement together. That's it, I think, yeah? Cool. I saw this film in the theater recently, and at first, I had a hard time parsing out what I did and didn't like about it, but I think I've come to some conclusions, and I'm going to dissect this in two videos. I'll say up front that I did not care for the movie overall, and I'll talk about that separately, but I wanted to talk here about what I did like, and quite frankly what I think drew most people into this film, in the same way that his character baited the Mormon women into his home, and that is the performance of Hugh Grant as Mr. Reed. Like many of my film nerd peers, I had never seen a Hugh Grant performance like this, where he's able to use his oh-so-likable powers for evil. In promoting the film, Grant said his inspiration was creepy cool professor, but also studied serial killers, and I think I can see that here. From the moment he opened the door to his home, he was gee golly shucks level disarming, but it was a consistent pace of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, as beats were interlaced into his performance, letting you know things with this guy weren't all they were cracked up to be. As we move along through the story, he plunges into a series of Hugh Grant's huge rants, where he asks the women to question their personal faith and even religion as a whole. I've got to admit, this was all quite captivating. Seemingly with ease, Grant turns what is otherwise a tinfoil hat TikTok vid into a TED Talk style compelling argument of religious iteration. Let's take a look.
Judaism, i.e. the original edition, Christianity, i.e. the most popular edition, and Islam, the newer, second most popular edition. May I see your Book of Mormon, please?
It's so good. He seemingly found a haunting new way to deploy a superpower he's always had in his acting tool bag, his boyish charm. It's a similar cinemagic trick that had us all once believing that Love Actually was heartwarming.
Yeah.
In Heretic, he uses this boyish charm and pairs it with his self-proclaimed age and experience-given wisdom to hold over these naive women that have existed in a religious echo chamber of sorts.
Do you believe in God because somebody told you at an impressionable age that God is real, despite having doubts as you got older, despite seeing evidence to the contrary your whole lives? When your father lost control of his body, did you think it was God's plan to ruin his life? Or did you go on believing something that you know is not true just to give you comfort because you were afraid of what it might mean if it was all a lie? I put the scented candle on the table because I wanted you to think about the things that you believe just because somebody asked you to believe them.
From the lines on his face to the pouty lower lip and crocodile smile, it's more than wolf in sheep's clothing stuff and more of a Venus flytrap. His character allows them to feel like they're making choices when they actually never had much of a choice at all. But I'd argue that it's not so much about what's being said, but how Grant is saying it. It's almost a masterclass in sales technique, and I was so intrigued, as I think many were, by this performance that I just had to give this a special look. Make sure to check out my full review of the film proper. I'll see you next time, right here on Esoterica Cinema!